Statehood for the Washington Territory was 7 years in the future when Robert Moran opened a small boat repair shop on Yesler's Dock in the rough frontier logging town of Seattle in 1882. 35 years later, in 1916, the expanded business, then known as Seattle Construction and Dry Dock Company, was merged with two East Coast operations to form the nucleus of what would ultimately be known as Todds Pacific Shipyards Incorporated. Over the decades, Todds facilities have serviced vessels of the U.S. and Royal Australian Navies, as well as the U.S. Coast Guard, commercial freighters, research vessels of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and ships of the Alaska State Marine Highway System. One of their main customers over the years, however, has been Washington State Ferries. The Spokane and the Walla Walla, two of the largest double-ended ferries ever built, were produced at the Todds Pacific shipyards. The years of the Second World War were busy ones for the company. During one 36-month period, the Seattle Division produced 126 ships of 6 different classes. Between 1950 and the late 1970s, the yard turned out 4 Charles Adams-class guided missile destroyers, 7 Knox-class frigates, 13 Oliver Hazard Perry-class frigates, and floating dry dock, and the USNS Hayes, a catamaran-hulled oceanographic research ship. Todds Pacific filed for bankruptcy in 1986, reorganizing and emerging from bankruptcy in 1990. Today, the company focuses primarily on marine repair and maintenance on its 46-acre facility on Seattle's Harbor Island. The company is ISO 9001 and 2000 certified, currently employs over 800 workers, and recognizes 11 different labor unions. Ship manufacture and asbestos. It is a matter of public record that the asbestos industry engaged in a massive cover-up when it came to the harmful health effects of asbestos. Whether or not the shipbuilding industry was aware of it is a matter of debate. Certainly, the U.S. Navy had such information. A memo entitled Asbestos was issued by a naval medical officer and addressed to Rear Admiral Ross McIntyre early in 1941. It stated, "We are not protecting these men as we should." This same memo indicates that orders not to disclose this information may have come from President Roosevelt himself, who, anticipating U.S. involvement in World War II, feared disturbances in the labor element. In 1943, the federal government finally issued a series of standards intended to protect a shipyard force that labored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in massive fogs of asbestos dust. These standards were not enforced until the late 1970s, however. The other problem was that only 0.2% of all shipyard employees were classified as asbestos workers. The fact is that virtually everyone who worked in a shipyard prior to 1980 was exposed to asbestos to some degree. Ironically, asbestos was ultimately responsible for as many deaths as combat injuries. Determining liability in asbestos cases requires careful research. The Navy has denied any liability in this matter, and proving that shipyard management was deliberately negligent is difficult. The usual and more appropriate strategy is to seek damages from the asbestos industry itself. Several law firms are building and maintaining databases of information regarding asbestos companies, their customers, and how and where specific asbestos products were used. One useful resource is the Colton Company, which provides a free public database of vessel construction records from all major U.S. shipyards. These records may be accessed free of charge at coltoncompany.com.
Thank you for watching. This video was produced by Asbestos.Net, a leading resource on all aspects of asbestos and mesothelioma. Our priority is to inform victims about the devastating effects of asbestos exposure, mesothelioma, asbestos cancer, asbestosis, and other asbestos-related diseases, and to advise them with a wealth of information. Individuals whose lives have been touched by mesothelioma have numerous questions and concerns. Their caregivers and family members also need accurate, reliable information. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or asbestos cancer and need more information, we invite you to visit and explore the thousands of pages of oncologist-reviewed material on Asbestos.net to call our convenient toll-free number shown below and speak with a mesothelioma specialist, or to use the simple contact form found at Asbestos.Net to request a free copy of our informative books, custom inserts, and DVD. Asbestos.Net, information and help for patients and families.